Luma Labs just dropped Ray 3 inside Dream Machine, and it's a pretty big deal. This is the very first update to bring native HDR to AI-generated videos. It's their most advanced model so far, with sharper visuals, better physics, and much stronger prompt-following skills. Basically, its reasoning has leveled up. They've also added something called Visual Annotations, which lets you literally draw on an image to make it animate without even typing a prompt. In this video, I'll be breaking down everything new in Ray 3 and comparing it directly to Ray 2 to see how much of an improvement it really is. We'll find out if HDR is worth the hype, test how well the new reasoning model sticks to prompts, and finally, I'll show you a few examples of those visual annotations in action. Before we dive in, big thanks to Luma Labs for sponsoring this video. I'll leave a link down below so you can try Ray 3 yourself. Let's start by quickly going over the new updates inside Luma Labs. If you open a new board, you'll see in the bottom right corner an option to switch between Ray 2, Ray 3, and the new Ray 3 reasoning model. I'll be covering each feature in detail, but first, here's the breakdown. Ray 3 reasoning is designed for more complex tasks. If your prompt has a lot going on, it does a better job at understanding context and producing visuals that make sense. Ray 3, on the other hand, is great for higher quality results and smooth motion. And if you drop the resolution to 720p, that's when HDR becomes available. You can also enable HDR plus AXR, which saves the video in a different format, making editing and color grading much easier in professional software. The important thing to know is that HDR and HDR plus AXR are only available at 720p, not 1080p. Now, by default, both text-to-video and image-to-video generations are HDR once you create them. You can even upscale your existing clips in the editor to give them that HDR look. Now, let's see how Ray 2 stacks up against Ray 3. I've got a few examples ready for both text-to-video and image-to-video. Let's start with text-to-video. I used a prompt for this test where one guy slams another into a wall, grabs him by the collar, and then throws him upwards. With Ray 2, here's what I got. The wall slam never happens, the action doesn't really follow the prompt, and there's even some weird morphing. Overall, Ray 2 just didn't cut it well. Now changing to Ray 3. Though you can actually see the guy getting slammed into the wall, then being lifted and thrown as the video cuts off. Way closer to what I asked for. Plus, now you can download this directly in HDR. Something that wasn't possible before. Pretty impressive. For the next test, I prompted a man lying on train tracks at night with a train approaching. In Ray 2, the result was just a confused man shocked as a train passes nearby. But he's not even on the tracks, so it completely missed the point. With Ray 3, the man wakes up on the track, looks ahead, and then realizes the train is coming from behind. It feels tense, dramatic, and the focus shift on the train looks smooth and cinematic. Okay, let's check out image to video. For this example, I uploaded an image of a man sprinting and added the prompt. A close tracking camera shot of a man running away from a huge T-Rex. In Ray 2, the T-Rex shows up, but the man doesn't actually run from it. It just looks like he's standing there while the T-Rex appears. Not great. In Ray 3, though, the man is sprinting at full speed while the T-Rex charges in from behind. Way more dynamic and way more accurate. Next up, I tested it with this cool image of a Toyota driving through the jungle. My prompt was, a truck driving through the Mexico jungle, splashing through puddles of water. With Ray 2, the result looked like slow-motion driving. The truck did hit puddles, but the wheel spin was over the top and the motion felt unnatural. With Ray 3, though, the motion is much smoother and more realistic. I also love how the windshield reflections change with the trees as the truck drives past. It feels more polished overall. Now let's get into Ray 3 reasoning. This mode is made for more advanced and detailed prompts. For example, I tested an image of a surgeon in the middle of an operation. In my prompt, I said, a nurse hands the surgeon both a scalpel and scissors. With Ray 2, or even regular Ray 3, it might miss one of those details. Maybe it shows only the scalpel, not the scissors. But with Ray 3 reasoning, it automatically catches that something is missing and regenerates until it gets it right. Basically, it saves you from having to manually regenerate when the scene doesn't match your prompt. So look how it works. You enter your prompt, hit generate, and Ray 3 reasoning starts processing. It takes a bit longer, but during that time it's analyzing the request and leaving behind little notes about what it's generating. Once it's happy with the result, it finalizes it and upscales it to HDR automatically. The first thing it generates is a draft version. Then it checks itself. Like, did I actually follow the instructions? If the draft looks good, it upscales it to HDR. If not, it keeps trying until it gets closer to what you asked for. For example, I had a scene of a woman riding a bear through the forest. When I ran it in normal Ray 3, it gave me a decent output, but when I switched to Ray 3 reasoning, it actually gave me multiple drafts. Each draft refined the scene until it nailed it, then it upscaled the best one. This is how the reasoning part really shows. It doesn't just spit out one attempt, it thinks through the request step by step. Luma calls this chain of thought. For example, if you ask for a woman holding an old-fashioned phone, it might first generate her holding two modern phones. Then it realizes that doesn't match, so it tries again with two older phones. Finally, it adjusts to one vintage phone being held up exactly as requested. That's why this model is especially good for complex or multi-step prompts. I've got another quick example with a bike rider. Ray 3 reasoning didn't need to regenerate multiple drafts because it nailed it on the first try. It just upscaled it to HDR right away, and the result looked fantastic. The HDR makes the shot pop, and it's ready to drop into an editing timeline for color grading. Now let's talk HDR versus SDR. SDR stands for Standard Dynamic Range, basically the normal brightness and color range most videos use. HDR, or High Dynamic Range, expands that range with deeper shadows and brighter highlights, giving your footage a lot more flexibility for editing and color grading. Filmmakers will especially love this because it lets them push colors and tones much further than SDR. To show you what I mean, I uploaded a regular SDR clip into the Luma editor. By clicking one button, I could upscale it to HDR or even convert it to 4K HDR. The difference is clear right away. The HDR version looks richer, more vibrant, and just overall better. When I pulled it into my video editor and tweaked the brightness, the HDR clip had way more depth than the original SDR. Finally, let's check out the brand new Visual Annotations feature. This lets you literally draw directions onto your image to guide the animation. For example, here I loaded in an image of a naval battle staged inside the Roman Colosseum. Yes, that's something they actually did in history. Anyway, with Ray 3, a new Annotate button appears. After the image loads, you can draw arrows or shapes to show where things should move. So here I drew arrows pointing the ships toward each other, and arrows showing soldiers moving forward. After hitting done, I typed a quick prompt. The boats face each other in battle. When it generated, the ships moved exactly in the directions I drew, and the soldiers marched inward. It gives you way more control over the final animation since you're literally sketching the motion you want, and you're not limited to arrows. You can draw anything you like. For example, Luma showed a fish moving left just by drawing a line, or a cow being abducted by a UFO floating upward because of the arrows. It's a fun and powerful way to customize animations beyond just writing prompts. So if you want to try out Luma Labs Ray 3 for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description below.